Hello there. My name is Glacier Wolf Rockefeller, and I randomly just do started. I randomly decided to start a new series. So a little while ago, about a year ish, I started playing D&D, and I got really into all the character type of stuff with it, and like the alignments and the stories and all of that sort of thing. And so I would like to bring to you a character tutorial. This is just for making characters at the base level. This isn't creating a huge, fantastic story or anything. It's just how to fill out the character sheet. This is not an in-depth guide to the races and the classes and all of the game mechanics. Just making the character on the character sheet. And that includes this character sheet, just like the standard D&D 5th edition character sheet, and also the spell casting area here for classes with spells. And we'll be going over spells so you know how to do a spell sheet. And this is not teaching necessarily how spells work. It's not teaching you how anything works. This is just teaching you how to fill out a character sheet. If there are relevant things to that are game mechanics or how this works, then I will mention them. When I first started playing D&D, the first time I made a character, I was being rushed through it by a couple of people who were asking me questions rapid fire, and I had no idea what they meant. I don't want that to happen to you, because making a character is a long, intense process to get everything that you need for the storyline of your character, for the huge role-playing material, and I want to go through it slowly and make sure that you understand how to make a character and what you're writing down, what that means when you're writing whatever down from the player's handbook. So on the left side, if you didn't notice, we have the player's handbook, and then on the right side we have the character sheet that we can type into and edit and all that good stuff. So I'm just going to be making an example character here, going through this, and I'm just going to do something pretty simple. The classes have all sorts of different styles with how they do combat and what they are specialized in, and a lot of the time you can customize how you even build your class. So it comes down to generally what do you want, and then let's customize what you want. There's the fighter, weapon specialist. You can take the Eldritch Knight path and give him a little bit of magic. So there's so many things you can do here. We're just going to start off nice and easy, nice and simple with the race. So for that, we're going to have to do a couple of things. First, choose a race. So I thought we would start off with a human here, and I may or may not go through making example character sheets with these races and classes. I'm not going to do like every combination of races and classes, but just do them once. And I might just go down the list here. Like, let's make a dwarf barbarian, and then like an elf bard, just kind of taking from the top and going down, just so you get to see what all the classes are. And this is for the whole one character, and the character will change as you go. The basis of the character sheet, though, is what people tend to be confused about. How these things work, what like all these different areas are for exactly. How you calculate things on your character sheet. This is getting you ready to play your first time. That's the goal here. So let's do a human. Human, nice and easy. Page 29. Let's go find page 29. There are a lot of pages in this book. 29, it's actually 30. So, human. I'm not going to read through all of this sort of stuff. This is mainly focusing on the stats and things, so You can pause it here, and you can read this if you want. And just because you want to know what the sort of more storyline elements are, humans are a variety. As it says right here, variety in all things. So they are adaptable. They can be pretty much anything. They can be any of the classes, and there's no specific pairing that they tend to have. Like, Halfling Bard is a pairing that is a classic sort of pairing, or Elf Hunter, or Elf Ranger, in the case of this game. That sort of thing, or Elf Druid. The humans don't have one of those. They're just humans. They can be anything. So let's write down here in the race, human, and go on to the things we're actually going to be writing down. So this is just some more sort of storyline type of stuff. And you have some human names. It's just some traits of them that don't necessarily affect your character, except for maybe how their storyline, like where they're from. There's a whole bunch of different names based on like tribes here. Mulan, I like that. And just gives you some options. You don't have to take any of these names, of course. You can name your character whatever you want. I'm thinking doesn't really matter. I'm just gonna put my name down here. Rockefeller the Hunter. Doesn't really matter at this point. Name is the last thing you need to worry about, unless it has to do with your storyline and you need to match it up somehow. Okay, let's go to the traits. Human traits right here. So, let's actually zoom in on this a bit. So this is going to be the sort of things that we're going to be writing down. Yeah, let's see. That's not working. Bear with me, I got this. Okay. So that's not helpful because it's like the same size. You know what? I'm going to put it over here. First time using this zoom thing. Okay. One more. Oh no. So, it's hard to make generalizations about humans, but your human character has these traits. So, you can pause here if you want to see this. I actually have to move this now. We probably don't need to be zoomed in. And so you get an ability score increase. Your ability scores each increase by 1. That reminds me, this is actually a good time to roll these. So ask your DM how they're going to have you do this exactly. I'm just going to go online. And say, like, die. Oh, that's where die. So you can just go online and roll dice. It's taking a minute. Okay. So we're going to roll 6-sided, and we're going to say 3. So you can just find this online, as I just did. And you can say, roll it. Actually, we're going to want to roll 4, because the way that I do this, personally, and the way that my DM taught me to do it was to roll 4d6, four six-sided dice, and take the three highest, drop the lowest. If any are a 1, re-roll the ones. So in this case, and I would usually roll this physically because I have dice, but if you don't have dice, you can do something like this online. So we drop the lowest, so that means that we get 6 plus 4, which is 9, plus another 4, which is 13. Math. So that means we're going to get a 13 for one of our stats. Now you can either have a DM who's like, okay, let's put this into a specific stat, we'll go from top to bottom, whatnot. I just like to write them down and put them in depending on what I'm going to use for my race, class, so on. So we got a 13. Let's roll again. Okay. This time we got a 17. So that's a high roll, because the highest that you're going to be able to roll with these dice are going to be a 3d6. That's going to mean 18. So 17 is nice and high. Unless I counted that wrong. Nope, that's right. And we're going to roll again. So we're going to keep doing this until we have 6. Again, drop the lowest. So it's going to be 13. Gives it to us nice and easy right there. So all I have to do is subtract the lowest one. Let's go again. Okay, so we're going to get only 11 that time. And then again. Okay, we got a 1. So here's where it would get tricky rolling this way. Is that to re-roll a 1, you have to re-roll everything. So you can do is remember that you have a 6, a 4, and a 5, and re-roll the 1. Which is what I'm going to do. So I'm just going to roll the 1 dice, remembering I have a 6, a 4, and a 5. So I got a 5. If I have a 6, a 4, and a 5, that means we're going to have a 6, a 5, and a 5 as my 3 highest. So that's going to be 16. If that's wrong, you can tell me. I'm probably not going to change it now, but apologies. Try that again. Okay, so that's going to be a 15. So now we have 6 stats, and we can put them wherever we want. I'm playing a human. I don't know my classes yet. Usually you wouldn't want to put them all on there until you know your class. It's a process that you want to do over the entirety of your race, your class, and your background. Those are the main 3 big things you're going to be adding to your character sheet with. And then your spells, which come from your class. So I'm just going to have these here, and I'm not going to put them anywhere yet. Most of the time, you want to decide these based off of your class. In this case, I don't have a specific tribe I belong to, and it doesn't matter because they don't affect my actual character. It's mainly just for the names and for the storyline. So, remembering, I'm going to put that in features and traits. Ability score increase, because then I know each increases. Because then I know for later that I have that. And then I'll erase this. But these are going to go in my ability scores when I get to the class. Okay. Humans reaching adulthood in their late teens and live less than a century. Additional little piece of information. Humans tend toward no particular alignment. The best and the worst are found among them. We'll go over alignment when we get to background. Humans vary widely in height and build, from barely 5 feet to well over 6 feet. Your size is medium. What that's referencing is the actual size of your character relating to other creatures. A creature is any living being, uh, well, including undead and constructs, but anything that is you're able to interact with as a creature. Uh, your size is medium, which means your size of your character, if you're playing on a mat or something, is actually medium size. It perfectly fits within a square. And then anything that's larger or smaller either is not fitting perfectly in the square and is smaller or fills multiple squares. So that just means your size of your character is literally medium in reference to a board and other creatures. Base walking speed is 30 feet. Another thing we can add, we have speed right here. Each square is 5 feet when you're playing on a mat, so that means you... My goodness, it's weird. To reference that, that means you can walk a good amount of squares. You can speak, read, and write. This is another thing we can add down here in other proficiencies in languages. Speak, read, and write common and one extra language of your choice. So here we can put common. It says humans typically deal with the languages of other peoples they deal with, including obscure dialects. So they could have orc curses, elvish musical expressions, dwarvish military phrases, so on. So we can put common and then one additional. Just to be able to remember. So that's about it, actually. Like the ability score increase and the one extra, those are things in the race always come up against these things that are like, oh, you actually have to decide what you're gonna do here later on, for the most part, with like languages or ability scores, because you don't. There's no point in really putting the ability scores in here yet until you know what is gonna be affected by your class. Like if you're playing a cleric, their spell casting ability is wisdom, so you're going to want to have high wisdom so you can roll high rolls with your spells, that sort of thing, and high strength so you can attack with your weapon. You're usually wearing heavy armor, so you're able to attack up close since you can't run away very effectively. So depending on the class is what is going to be affected by such things as ability score increase. Language has to do with your story, or what you want to be able to speak to as far as creatures, that sort of thing. And there's variant human traits, which means that if you're using specific feat rules, then you can get some more traits, or your traits change, that sort of thing. So you gain a feat. Feats are specific. I've never played with them, so I don't really know about them. That's just a variation on your character you could use, but that's not the base character. Okay. Let me know if you like this video and if you want to see more of them. I will regardless do a class video to follow this one up. I know we didn't actually add very much to the character sheet. The race really does not add very much. That's mostly able to flesh out your story more with what race you are, how other people see you in the world, whatever world you're playing in, depending on where your dungeon master has placed you. And then we fill in these things with the background. The class is where the brunt of the meat of your character is going to be. That's going to give you equipment. It's going to give you features and traits. Apart from what we might have already gotten, the human race didn't give us anything in features and traits, really. It's going to give us all our skills that we're going to become proficient in. It's going to give us our hit points. It's going to give us most everything else. That's going to be in the class. So let me know if you want to see more on each individual race, each individual class. I like doing these videos. I've learned a lot doing D&D. I'm not an expert. That's why I'm doing baseline things here, not in-depth explanations. I would not be the one to ask specific questions of. I might be able to answer some of them just from experiencing them. But otherwise, I might not know because I've only been playing D&D for a little while. I don't even feel I'm confident to be a dungeon master yet. I've tried. Hasn't gone very well in my opinion. I'm still learning as a player and as a dungeon master as well. But as a beginning player here, which is what I'm doing this video for, or as a video expert on YouTube, let me know. I know this is a little bit scattered, and I don't want to re-record it necessarily, but I do want to do better next time. So next time I will try to be a little bit more structured, have things a little bit more prepared than I did this time. And please give me a like if you like this video. And if you want to see more content on D&D, this is the first thing I've done on D&D. And if you want to check out any other gaming videos, I have a good amount of gaming videos, mostly some random stuff, some random series, some from years ago. Let me know what else you would want to see. Later.